Hi, good morning. This is Fred Henning from Out of Box Wealth. Hope you're having a blessed day and you and your family are doing well. And I wanted to talk about power, perception, and paradigm. And it's so incredible to look in to the way that we as human beings are made up. Look at our biochemical, biophysical uh, composite of what we really are as a human being. And when you look into the electric factor, when you look into the potential that our body has, simply as an energetic source, when you look at the amount of electricity that is in each cell, we have literally nuclear capability. Now, it's not the same as like a nuclear bomb or a nuclear power plant where it's fission versus fusion, but I can't remember which one we have. But either whether it's fission or fusion, nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, the capability that we have power-wise in our body is phenomenal. It's just really overwhelming and something really, really cool to do your own research on, because you'll come across so many different things that pertain to your situation. That's the cool thing about hearing about ideas, hearing about theories, and then doing your own research, taking a look at everything for your own, because as you're doing your own research, you'll discover some really, really cool things that I'm confident are going to help you. But when we think of power, perception, and paradigm, and we look at ourselves as power beings, and you go back to any ancient tradition before it fell in the hands of world powers that used religion to build armies to go and kill other nations. Before that, when you get to the source of information, the source of knowledge, the source of wisdom, you'll find that they all agree that as human beings, we are connected to an infinite source. So that connection to an infinite source connects us to an infinite power. What happens is our perception is always making conclusions, creating programs, and allowing them to run in our subconscious. So, in other words, however we perceive something is the way that we are programming ourselves to run that program, to run that app, and until we make a change, it continues to run. So, an example is, if as a child, maybe a mother or a father, maybe they were just getting over the flu or something, and their energy wasn't 100%. They weren't feeling well, and we wanted some attention, and we got reprimanded, we got disciplined because we were just simply there at the wrong time. But we may have told ourselves that that parent doesn't like us or doesn't love us. That's our perception, and then we have that program that begins to run inside of us. And since it's a program that is based on gender, based on polarity, if it was one parent, we could have, a basically a program that's running that's associated with either the masculine or the feminine. And again, our perception created this whole entire program, but it was based on a perception that was inaccurate. When we have an experience like that, and unfortunately, we tend to, just take the extreme experiences and make a program out of those, and just the average ones, which are the most common and the most fulfilling and usually the most nurturing, they get ignored because right now, as a species, humans live in the extremes. We live in drama. All of our, well, not all, but most of our entertainment is drama based and drama focused. And then again, our perception is creating programs that make us think that reality is drama based or drama focused. But as you can see, just here in this environment, it's simply not true. The real world that we live in is cooperative, and the energy that is sustainable is a cooperative energy. Even in Mother Nature, among predators and prey, predators don't overdo it. When they are full, when they have what they need, they stop. They don't continue. So we have a existence that is based on cooperation, not based on drama, not based on get rid of the competition. It's not based on defeat your opponent. It's not based on kill the enemy and take all their stuff, because that's the only way you're going to survive. What is sustainable is a system that is based on cooperation. Mother Nature is always sending us that message, giving us that wisdom, and allowing us to choose. We have free will to choose, and we have free will to choose in our lives. So we have unlimited power. Our perception, the way that we looked at life and the way that we looked at the things that happened to us, have created limits to that power and cut off that power. And in a lot of different areas, like our perception may be, well, I'll see it when I believe it. And the truth is that our physical eye sees 3% of reality. And the rest of our existence in this universe is unseen. You can think of it simply not just on a microscopic level, but even a macroscopic level of the planets. We may look into the night sky and see some stars, but don't necessarily know that they are planets. And we can't just turn our bird's eye view, so to speak, and tune into the planet of Mars and see what's going on there on the surface, because it's part of the unseen. And yet when we live in this reality of I'll believe it when I see it, we're living in a limited reality, because the material world, the materially manifested world, is just a very, very low percentage of reality. And then we find out that we have, again, access to this unlimited power, and we recognize our energetic influence, our energetic operation, and how that we as humans are energetic beings. We recognize the power that is flowing through us, and then hopefully you can recognize the patterns that we keep manifesting in our lives based on what? Our perception. And so when our perception is allowed to be adjusted, and when we recognize that we have limits that we have in our perception that are operating through our own being, then we start to recognize paradigms. And paradigms are basically an understanding that we have of a certain issue, and we continue to believe it, and we continue to support it based on our perception. And our perception of a limit creates a paradigm and then what that creates is, again, limits that we are living in everyday life. So, power, perception, paradigm. Somebody may be stuck in a paradigm where they may believe, well, I don't have this education, I don't have that education, so therefore I'm going to be limited to a certain experience financially in life. And so that's the paradigm. That's where they allow themselves to remain or be stuck, because they believe that that's all that they are capable of. And so the paradigm creates a limit, and most people's paradigms are creating limits. But again, when we have awareness and understanding, we can change those paradigms through our perception and reattach to positive power. And the truth is, money and wealth it's a law. It's a law based on vibration, again, power, energy, power, perception, paradigm. So when we recognize that there are natural laws that are always operating, gravity is one that most people can relate to pretty easily. It's a law, it works all the time. And when you discover that there are other laws that we are intimately connected to as human beings, and you start to recognize the patterns, because recognition of the laws and their patterns and their manifestations in our own lives is a perfect place to start. Because sometimes people start with the masters, and the masters recognize these laws, and they're at a master level, and they're having all these incredible manifestations, but they started at personal recognition themselves first. And so when you have a master and the masters are doing all these cool things, and then you have a student and the student's like, whoa, and that can be overwhelming sometimes. If you have a biblical background, when Jesus was walking on the water, and Peter's like, "Wow, cool, me too." And he said, "Master, command that I'll come to you," and he did, and he walked on water. And when he started to sink, the only thing Yeshua didn't say anything other than, "Hey, why did you doubt?" So the truth of the matter is that when you recognize a law, when you recognize the operation of a law, and you recognize your ability to function within the parameters or the paradigms of those laws based on your own understanding, and you understand that your understanding is what creates the paradigm, it's really cool. And you don't have to start big. You don't have to just start with walking on the water. Because Peter had an advantage. He saw somebody else doing it firsthand. That makes it a lot easier to believe. But when you start with something that you recognize that these laws have already been in operation. Maybe you were a child and you believed that when you grow up you're going to have a certain car and it was going to be red, and that's exactly what you manifested. Or you had an idea of a husband or a wife that you were going to attract, and you know what they looked like, and lo and behold, there they are right next to you. All of those examples, because all of us as human beings are operating in these laws and in these supernatural laws, and so if we look, we can find evidence of them in our lives, and then bam, bingo. You have the key to recognizing their operation. When you recognize their operation, there's no limit. It doesn't matter if you think that these laws operated in your life to create something small. These laws don't know the difference between big and small based on, again, what? Our perception and our paradigm. They're limitless. It doesn't matter if you drop a marble or a cannonball or whatever it is, that you drop from, or you drop out a window, whatever it is. It doesn't matter how big or how small, they're all going to go straight to the earth because of the law of gravity. And the same is true with the law of vibration, the law of creation, the law of resonance, the law of gender. The law of gender is very, very important because the law of gender works together with the law of gestation. And as you know, in any type of seed environment or seed situation, is that each seed has a gestation period. And so you plant a seed in the ground. Depending on the type of seed, it has a certain amount of time that it needs to be in the ground before it's going to before it'll sprout. And then after it sprouts and grows, it has a certain amount of time before it will fruit. And it's the same with all types of seeds that we plant. And sometimes I think people get a bit discouraged because they may have planted an emotional seed or a spiritual seed, and it looks like nothing's happening, but they forget about the law of gestation and the law of gender, and maybe they do need a little bit more male or a little bit more female energy to fully fertilize that seed, to give it all of the things that it needs to grow, to be in the right soil. And so what you can know for yourself, especially after you have the experience of recognizing these laws that work in your life, understanding the different laws, again, especially I think it's real important just in this talk, the law of gestation, the law of how long it takes different seeds to manifest. And of course, different people have different experience because a lot of things when it comes to the laws are based on the law of faith. And faith is very, very powerful. And so when you go back and, you look at some of the masters, you can come across people who are manifesting things out of nothing, doing just amazing, amazing miracles, and, just having just really, really what seems to us supernatural. But when these things are based on natural laws, they're just higher experiences, they're just higher manifestations of these basic laws. And that's what happens. And that's, again, when we get into the laws of energy and the laws of light, and when things vibrate to the speed of light, time stops. And we recognize the laws of relativity and how things are related to each other, and how you can move things up to that type of speed. And one key is that the speed of light isn't just straightforward; it also zigzags, and the zigzag is slower than the straightforward. So that's a really, really powerful teaching that is handed down in the ancient mystery schools, and a strong key to be able to help people access just an amazing power that they didn't know was available to them. But when we, again, power, perception, paradigm, when we understand their operation in our lives, in us, to us, and through us, and we start to be in conscious awareness of them, and then we start to gnothi seuton, when we start to know ourselves, when we start to become a student of wisdom, a lover of wisdom, a philosopher, a lover of philosophy, become our own philosopher, become our own teacher, become our own guru, know ourselves, and recognize these beautiful, wonderful, fantastic concepts of law, and the laws of creation, the law of attraction, and all of the other laws that work together to manifest those. And we recognize that we all have full access to unlimited power, and that we can take advantage of these laws and these operations in our own specific life to become our own authentic self, and to manifest our own highest good, and to be our authentic self in a wonderful, pure, peaceful, loving being state that only does good, that doesn't do any harm to ourselves or to anyone around us. And then we find just an amazing momentum. We find that the synergy that we are emanating from ourselves creates just wonderful synchronicities, wonderful connections. And then next thing you know, we have a whole tribe of people believing the same thing, and the same understanding, and the same faith in restoring our earth once again to the original garden paradise that all can experience and enjoy with abundance, peace, and love, joy, and all types of good experience for all. And that's my wish for all of us as human beings. So love, peace, blessing, abundance, prosperity to you and your family. Gnothi Seuton. Namaste.